Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Now. Let's see. I wonder if my old pupil Aristotle would like to chat today on Philosopher Chat. Well, I'll just contact him. Hmm. My old mentor Plato wants to interact with me on Philosopher Chat. Interesting. Let's see what the old kook has to say. Ah, Plato! I can see you on my little screen. How long's it been? A good 2,000 years? Ah, Aristotle. How good to see you. I've been rather well over the last 2,000 years. Ah, yes. Yes, 2,000 years. Yes, the world has changed quite a bit since our time. And what of this new country, America? Seems to be a land of wonder. Yes, I've come to understand America's quite a big deal. It seems they started off as a colony of England. From there, they had a revolution and became their own country. What do you think of that? What's this? Plato and Aristotle on Philosopher's Chat. Without me, how dare they? Interjection! I am Thomas Hobbes, and I decree that I will be a part of this discussion as well. What are we discussing? Very well, we were discussing America and its revolution. I was just telling Aristotle here that the King of England was no philosopher king. Therefore, he had no right to rule. Only when philosophers are kings and kings are philosophers shall evil stop. Well, yes. You know, I always thought that kings had to be virtuous, or you will always end up with a tyrant ruler. Gosh. Indeed. I saw when these Americans rebelled against their English king, and they were right to. Anyone has a right to rebel against the state if it threatens their life or way of life. And it did. And so they rebelled. And so they went and they fought and they won! I'm sorry, continue. In my experience, rebellions arise out of a need to be equal. If it's not that, then it's most certainly that they're fighting for honor or for gain, or out of fear of losing one of those. Yes. Well, as far as a new government goes, they could try an Aristotelian government, so long as it isn't perverted into an oligarchy. Failing that, they could go with a monarchy or a constitutional form of government. However, those often pervert into tyranny and democracy. They were right to rebel, but as for their new form of government, It was wrong. You cannot have more than one party representing a group of people. It can't happen. I would agree with Aristotle. An Aristotelian form of government would have been better, or even a monarchy. However, a democracy is much different than you described it, Aristotle, and I would suggest they could have gone that way also. But having two parties, the Democratic and the Republican, this isn't right. This is not the way government should work. Well, it doesn't matter what type of government as long as the country is founded on virtuous values such as justice, wisdom, courage. Yes. But of course, Aristotelian society would make more sense. Yes, and further down the future, they fought a war amongst themselves. I saw this and I was afraid. Indeed, because I thought perhaps this war would tear this country apart. I was wrong, however. One of the most important things to remember when making war is that you must do it justly and with virtue. You also must have a legitimate leader, someone who has no hidden agendas, who wants this war only for the reasons he said he wants this war, for justice and for his own virtuous purposes. It is necessary to fight wars. War shall never cease. It's like I said, only the dead shall see the end of war. These will grow if you let them into hardcore war, and they will be for gain, safety, and reputation. Obviously, the Civil War the Americans fought was for safety, because had they had a second America right down south to their border, obviously that would have threatened their way of life. This is why the Civil War was fought. As for how the divided country could stand, it can't. The problem was that this country was split from the inside. The problem was no external force. It was in the country. And so it was only a civil war, only a war of the country itself, that could bring it back to its original state, and even make it better. It is the same with a human as it is with a city, or even a country. If the country is divided, if one part of a country is trying to take over another, that country will not last very long. It will tear itself apart. It is just like my just city. Well, actually, seeing as the topic that divides the country is slavery, it should be up to the common good of the country as a whole to decide whether slavery is best for their nation or not. Because it's like I always thought. Some people are natural slaves, and others are natural masters. Therefore, If everyone is what they naturally are, everything will be fine. As for slavery, it's like I always said. Every man should say to every man, I authorize you, and give up my right of government to myself, to this man, or to the assembly of men. That this is the way to avoid the brutish nature of humans, as we are all animals on the inside. What is this madness you speak of, slavery? It's nonsense, really. Because none of the citizens have any rights anyways. They are all slaves. To the state, to the country. And it is for the greater good that they are all slaves. Indeed. Oh, I'm running low on power. I'm afraid I must leave you then. Old men bore me. I'm going to go watch Doctor Who. I don't know why I'm Scottish now. I'm gonna go watch Doctor Who. Still Scottish, damn it. I don't know what this voice is. This is just a voice I chose. It's how it happens, you know? You pick a voice, you do the philosopher thing. That's how you make the movies. Yeah? Yeah. We're going to make a blooper reel now. It has to happen. And we'll put it on YouTube and we'll get more views to the actual video because we won't put the bloopers on the actual video. That would be unprofessional. Interesting. Okay.